So the main thing from Akai, this is really interesting, seeing as I jumped on this purely because I bought the
New launch
specifically
control at
asking
the
some of our
beginning of the year.
patrons, is there any alternative which is okay? And Hydrofighter came out with his Akai, which was a little bit more. But now they've brought out a collection of the APC Mini Mark II and the APK Key 25. 2 MIDI controllers. I can't show 2 things at once, but I will share this for this. I will share
do
this.
one then the other. It's okay.
I'll do one then the other. That's what I'm going to do.
Sequentially is quite all right.
I can't deal with 2 things at once.
I can't. I struggle with one thing, so that's fair enough. Yeah. So this is the Akai Professional APC Mini, which came out at the end of December, but they started their marketing campaign a couple of days ago. So just for reference, 2,390 crowns is about €99, which is about $100 basically.
Yeah.
And this is so for $100. It's basically what looks to be like a formation or a Frankenstein, a smashing together of the Novation launch pad and the launch control together. You've got trigger pads, as you can see there, which are fully RGB, and you've got faders, so you can plug and play into Ableton, and you can instantly just be controlling. It's 8 tracks, and then there's a 9th for a master fader, which is quite a nice little touch on that regard. There is the 25 key, which I'll bring up as well on this one here. Like I say, so they're being built together. They're being built together, and like I say, you buy them as a pair. So bring this one up as well. Again, another €99 or so. You got a nice little touchpad on that as well, plus the keys and 8 knobs for manipulating the VSTs within Ableton itself. It is designed for Ableton, very much so. So if you're using anything else, God forbid, probably not the...
If you're a heathen like me, I suppose, and like to be a nonconformist.
Exactly. If you want to be anything like that, it is built for that kind of thing. You don't have to use it. It is kind of like done for that. But I mean, all these things can be strong-armed if you want to. But
well, Logic does have a clip launcher. I've never used it, but it does have one, and I'd be curious if this does work in that way. In the chat survey channels there, what's going on, Matt? He says, of course they announced this now. Did you get something instead of it, or is it just you don't need it now, but you did a time before?
Well, I immediately I sent this to you last night. My time.
I know you were quite excited about it.
I was quite excited about it, and I am happy that I really like the launch control that I've got. I'm really happy with it. But when I saw this, a little bit of me was like, have I jumped the gun? Have I bought it too quick? But there are some drawbacks. Now, granted, the launch control is €150, and so it's an extra $50. And I've got the Launchpad Pro, which was a lot more, which was closer to, I think it was closer to €200, something like that. So I've got like a slightly more upgraded set. The APC Mini and the APK 25, it looks they're very good for scratching. So like you guys go out into the big wide world, you're always about getting out of the studio and with your daughter's jams and stuff. This is how you would do it with your laptop if you're in a cafe or in a park or something. It looks great for scratches. You can launch keys and you can make things happen. You can slightly tweak things and gain stage and stuff like that, and it's nice. But they don't have velocity sensitive pads, which is a big deal.
The keyboard is velocity sensitive though, right?
The keyboard is velocity sensitive,
okay.
yeah. But if you're one of the big things about these pads is for finger drumming, for example, which you really should have velocity sensitivity, which you can have with a plugin with Ableton. That's fine, but I mean, how natural do you want to get that kind of thing? So it's more. It is more geared towards like making a scratch on the fly as opposed to like live production and live creation, that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't know if velocity sensitive pads are that important to me. I mean, on the SP, I always have fixed velocity and just alter it in the like post if I need to. I mean, when I'm in a DAW, I do tons of velocity changes with hi-hats and things like that, but it's all in post because I don't necessarily want the kick to be multiple velocities when I'm hitting it, but of course my fingers are going to. So for finger drumming, for me personally, chat, let us know if you feel differently. That's not a make it or break it. And in the chat, Survey Channel says he got the Launch Control XL for live stuff, and he said it integrated nice into his set via Reaper, but I could definitely use some more buttons. We always could. And then Shady, actually, I'm sorry, Hydro Fighter says both Shady and he have one of the APC minis, very portable, would like some knobs though. And Shady says he loves the APC mini.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of an idea. Like, again, with the launch control, you've got knobs on that, and that really works quite nicely. This doesn't. It has it on the keys. It doesn't have it on the mini itself. Which, if you need that kind of thing, then yeah, you're going to need that kind of thing. What is quite interesting though, I did find, was the keys, the pads themselves, seem to be more geared up for using the squares and using the grid as kind of like a synth, like a lead line, for example. It's more intrinsic, which again you can get with something like the launch pad, and it tells you kind of really well what chords you're using, what scale you're in, and what key you're in. But it's very kind of adaptive to that kind of thing, which could be quite nice if you're not so fussed about using traditional keys. So I don't know if that might be up to some people's alley as well. Again, making things not kind of strategic to keyboard, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Bedu says he has an old APC 40. There's a couple dots after that. Is that you don't enjoy it or you do love it? Let us know. But Eon, what's your take on all of it?
I was looking at the APC Mini actually for playing live, just clip launching and mixing, basic mixing, because I'm thinking that absolute bare minimum. I do have the launch control, and that is probably more likely going to get used. I've got a pair of pushes as well. I've got the old one and that too, so I was going to use one of those for live, one of them for studio. So I'm really trying to think. You can actually do it all on the push, and then it is velocity sensitive. Like you, Sunwarper, I put it on fixed velocity on the SP most of the time for the same reasons. But on push, I do actually make use of velocity sensitivity, recording things and so on. Especially
because you can play keys on that too, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's
exactly.
your main.
But for samples and that, otherwise you end up with wonky samples and certain beats stick out unintentionally and so on. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in the Mini. I mean, it's a lot of control in a really small surface area, and that's what I'm all about at the moment. I do not want to be carting a lot of stuff around playing live, really. So
bring the gig to you, bro. Bring the gig.
Well, there's that too. But I mean, why pick and choose? Do both, But in real world, stream from home, maybe you do need to do everything. I mean, that's our remit these days, isn't it? You got to do everything.
Yeah,
it's a very thing.
But I just back to the velocity sensitive issue. I mean, the one nice thing is with that one, you have the keyboard. So if you needed to play drums with velocity sensitive or sensitivity, you could just play it on the keyboard. So there is that.
I've also been looking at using these as well.
I was looking at those. I wanted to do that. Ben
he has like 3 of them, right? Yeah.
He's got 3 daisy chains, so he's got basically a 12-track mixer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I used to do 20 channels on this, as you can see, because if you switch between the 3 colors, then you can get the next set of channels. So I had 2 of them.
Well, there you go.
Who makes that one? What's that called?
It's Allen and Heath.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the dream. A daisy chaining a couple of those together and having a full kind of like adaptive.
What's the cost for one of those?
The one is $300, I think.
Oh, that's not that bad.
I think I got them cheaper than that, but it was a couple of years ago.
Probably get them used too. Bendu says, I kind of envy the RGB colors as I tend to use color consistently to organize, but I like all the knobs.
More knobs is always a good thing. I mean, if there's any feedback for any manufacturer of any form, more knobs.
More knobs, please.
always. So yeah, very much. Any more on that? I was excited by this. Like I say, it's just more. I'm really because of all that kind of like in the DAW kind of live mixing, live kind of thing. That really struck me. That struck me very much.
I really like the idea of really small form factor things with a lot of control. It's all there. It's taking up subtle space. You can get on and do it. You've got the control you need to actually do something performative. rather than just hit and play or whatever.
Well, let me ask you, Curtis, have you considered swapping the one you have now for one of those?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because
velocity sensitive?
No, the knobs, on the actual knobs. Like with my launch control, I can control sends and returns to the various channels, but also I can control all the knobs. So this is great. This is a wonderful description of all the knobs. I love the knobs. Give me more knobs, please. I can also control things like filters, and I can control turning on delays and stuff in the effects chain, which you can't do with the APC. It's again, that's why so it's less of a live instrument. This is for me is a live mixer, so I can mix on the fly and do live streaming.
Yeah,
that's for scratching, and that's where I think the difference is on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be powerful, just like you said, with a laptop out like at a cafe or something. You could do everything on just that one tiny little thing. It doesn't take up much real estate. Or if you have not a lot of space, like on your desk, like me, that would be awesome to just control everything from one tiny little MIDI keyboard. In the chat, Hydrofighter says that he seconds what Benju said about all the knobs and the colors. He said, I love how the push uses the colors, but I like the faders on the APC 40.
That's fair. The APC 40 is a lovely piece of kit as well. That's another way to go if you want to go for the big kahunas, so to speak. Yeah, very much so. That is the stuff coming out of Akai, and only for $200. If you're a new producer and in your bedroom, can't really much beat it. And if you're using Ableton as well, as you should be, it's the way forward. But yes, any more on that, or should we switch to the slight correction?
I think we're good. Just chat. Is anyone considering getting one of those Akais? Let us know. And if so, why? What would you be replacing or supplementing with it?
Or what else works? Maybe you've been using Fader Fox or something like that.
Or the APC 40.
It's the fader. Is that a fader? Is that the thing you sent me over Christmas? Like that box?
Oh, that thing's awesome.
They got loads of little controllers, various MIDI controllers.
I know. There's one YouTuber that uses it with the 404, and he can control. He MIDI synced or CC'd all the effects, so he can just use that to change all the effects. You don't have to switch. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the idea of that.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's a really cool idea. I'll find the YouTuber. I'm just blanking on the name and post it in the Discord after the chat. So if anybody wants to follow up, if you're watching posts either on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that, well, first leave a rating. It helps a ton. But then check the Discord. The link is both in the YouTube description and all of the podcast sites.
So if you like that clip, consider checking out our full live stream, Audionautic Deep Space Network, on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and you can also join us for the live stream of said podcast at 7 p.m. UTC, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Wonderful, yes. And finally, we have got the Audionautic Radio playlist, which is down in the description below. All the latest and the greatest of the underground electronica world that you see there. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, if you're looking for some new music or checking out some of the newest in electronic music, head to that link in the description, and we will see you in the next ADSN. Thanks for watching.